Hello everyone, welcome back to REZponse Roundtable. It is REZponse Wednesday and we are so fortunate enough to have a special guest today. I've been a big fan. I use her face mask. If you follow me on Instagram, you see me on my story, and it's just a wonderful Indigenous woman entrepreneur.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Rocio Francis. I'm the owner and CEO of Morning Mist Soap Company. I also own Francis Beard Care.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I bought the beard line that I bought from your beard line. I bought it for my best friend, and he's obsessed. Like,
good.
He's like, my
I
blackheads
make
are
him smell
gone.
good.
Yeah, he just is so obsessed. And so I tell everybody, I'm like, this is the wonders on my best friend's skin. So. Yeah. So I'm a huge fan.
What does Indigenous identity mean to you?
Well, that actually has been my journey within the past 2 years. And I've always known that I was Indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
But my family early on was taken from living on the reservation.
Okay.
So I was lost. I was like, if I'm not on the reservation, then who am I?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that was due to colonization, of course, which was already explained to me at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
So, and growing up, I just tried to convince everybody, and I had to stand up for myself, and I had to always say, I'm not from Mexico, I'm from here. And that was my sense of pride.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I am from here, we're all from here, where are you from, you know? And I never had the exact lineage or clanship or kinship details of both my, grandmother's side. And since they're the carriers of that, the lineage name, I didn't have anywhere to call home.
Mm-hmm.
So I just involved myself more in the stories, and I finally got a hold of some information this past couple years in order for me to even come out as an Indigenous person, because I wanted to give back to my community first and go about it the right way before I claimed being Indigenous, because it's a lifestyle. It's giving back to your people. It's learning who you are, but also what you can do for the next generation when you become an ancestor yourself.
Right. Oh my gosh. So we talk about this all the time because people, like claiming being Indigenous is like one thing, but it really is a way of living, right? And it's these values that we have where it's like, no, I'm like, it's my job to like give back, right? Mm-hmm. Because our ancestors survived so much, right? And we talk about this all the time.
And like I said, like we're gonna eventually be ancestors, right? Like
we're gonna be in the prayers.
Yeah, right?
I never thought about that.
And something that I too want to bring up is, since it's a lifestyle, it's a way of living. So I'm learning to knit, and I'm also learning Nahuatl, which is on my dad's side, my grandmother's native language as well. She's from the Coca people, which is indigenous to Chapala, Guadalajara, Mexico City. She's indigenous to Mexico. And that's a whole other story, because you're gonna be like, my family's from Mexico, but they're not. Mexican is a title.
Right, exactly.
I've never considered myself Mexican, and so learning the native language of what she's from or where she's from, the lifestyle and the culture. With how you identify, there's no such thing as a man or a woman difference. There's no, the language is the way of living, and that is a whole world within itself. The way Dene is as well. There's no, there's clanship, and the way you address people is in respect to who they are. And that's the same thing with Nahuatl. So it was really crazy for me to see like I can't even call my daughter or my son without a respectful way of saying it, but there's no he or she, there's no pronouns, because we're all equal.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Gosh, but that just shows you, right? Like Indigenous, like how even our language is like such a, like it just explains everything about who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't know.
We're all equal.
Yeah. And I think too, like how we even now, because we always talk about how like being Indigenous people and trying to live in these westernized systems, it's like sometimes it's very contrasting, right?
It is.
It's like, and it's hard, but like, because it's so different than the way that we normally like function, right? And
like even just down to talking, it's completely different.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure.
It's a whole.
Oh my god, my friends, I like say words very, like I say bake and flake and like, 'cause I'm from Montana. But because I'm from Montana and like some other words I can't say, and like my friends always, and I like do public speaking for a living, so it's weird that I can't say words, even though I say words all the time. But my friends always make fun of me, and I'm like, hey, this wasn't my original language, so this is just my ancestors telling me that I'm not meant to speak English. Okay, so you talked about like your grandmother's stories and everything, even though, did you know her?
So my tita, no. I actually was blessed to be in my great-grandmother's life and my great-grandmother's life. So they were, their stories were told.
I see.
You know, people were like shocked that I even lived with my great-great-grandmother.
Yeah. So what is the name of your company again, and what types of things, what are the main things that you make with your business?
So my business name is Morning Mist Soap Company. My actual name is Rocio, and that translates to morning dew. So I came up with my business name entailing my name. And I thought there's a certain empowerment with naming my company, the definition of my name, Rocio. And it being intertwined with dew. Morning dew is in nature, first of all, which is really important to me. And I've done some research, and the town of where my dad's from, my grandmother, who's thankfully still alive, her people are the Coca people. So they're the people of the water, of Lake Chapala. They are the ones who carry the water, carry themselves and their whole town with the water. And she is a medicine woman of her town. So to name my company, intertwining it with water, which is one of the most important things in our lifeline, was really important. So I make soaps with it, which include water. Everything includes water. I make soaps, I make tinctures, I make oils, massage oils, facial oils, lotion bars. So the lotion bars, a lot of people get confused. They just think of lotion. Lotion bars literally require little to no packaging. So you can take them anywhere, put them anywhere, and they smell good, and when you're done with them, you're done with them. The same with my soap, so.
Girl, you got some powerful women in your family, and obviously it shows.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's, yeah.
And it's so great that you tie it all back to like how you grew up, your family and everything. And it makes me think of like my family, like for instance, my grandmother, my grandpa, you know, I used to go with him when we used to get soap from the yucca. You talking about your story made me think about like my past, what I learned, and just like the teaching behind it. You know, everything comes from the ground. Everything's so natural. Yeah. And I mean, I wish I still did all that.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I think that's a really good example too, because when we think about, because on our episodes before we talked about being like the modern day matriarchs, right? Yeah. Like our lives obviously are very different from the matriarchs that came before us, but like we still have this like natural instinct to carry on these things and live this way that we knew, right? And you know, like, but that's like one of the sacrifices we make of like being here, moving away from home, and like being in the city, is that we don't have that like everyday, you know, like we don't get to be with our grandparents like we might have when we were younger, you know? Right. But that's like because we're trying to make a better life for future generations, right? Like this is our way of doing it.
Yeah, even like the ceremonies and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like it's dying out, and you know, all these medicine are passing on, and who's gonna take on that role next? You know.
Where do you usually get the product or the stuff that you use to make your soaps at?
So if I can get it from my mom, then I will, which she's constantly in the backyard, and she's just dirt. I can say she smells like dirt. That's my mom. She's as vital as dirt, I like to call it. So if I can get it from my mom, she finds me hopping her backyard like, hey, I'm here at the garden. No, and if I can find any local markets that are indigenously ran, or even, I was actually talking about seed sovereignty and trading seeds with different people from different tribes. And so now, thankfully, we got a house. I want to continue that, keeping of the seeds and everything like that back at my house. Usually I use my mom's as like a safe haven, but now I'll have my own yard. I'm going to be back there like every day.
You're going to become the dirt.
Yeah, I'm going to become the dirt. Yeah,
once you pass it on her.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, congrats on your new house.
Thank you. That was stressful.
Yeah,
very stressful.
How have you been there? I'm sure.
It's hard, like you said, being a modern day matriarch, because I'm used to being in the backyard. I'm used to running around in the dirt all day, playing, with the water hose, and not really having a time set to be home until the lights cut off.
Yeah.
To be every day, actually, and I would love to share this story. I have I did a beard oil named after my Tata Mike. He had a fire pit everywhere he went, and he slept outside. I'm like, you crazy old man, you're sleeping outside every night when there's a bed for you. And he goes, well, I belong by the fire. And I would pick up the ashes from the fire, and that's where I learned how to draw. Is he, roll his cigarettes, and he'd play his harmonica, and I'd be on the counter, the sidewalk, and I'd be drawing with the fire ashes, and he'd tell me stories, and I have them tattooed on me for a reason, and his stories live with me.
Yeah.
And so now that I have my own backyard, I'm like, I'm never going inside.
Hey everybody, thank you for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed the conversation with the ladies. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for REZponse Wednesday.